Picture this. You're driving alone on a dark Venezuelan road at 3 in the morning. You hear a whistle 7 notes. It sounds distant, so you relax. That's when you realize the whistling is coming from your back seat. In 2021, a truck driver reported exactly this. He floored the accelerator to 120 kilometers per hour. The whistling continued. When he looked in his mirror, a figure over 10 feet tall was keeping pace with his truck, running, whistling. This wasn't a nightmare. This is El Silbón, the whistler. For 200 years, he's hunted the plains of Venezuela. And his rule is simple. If his whistle sounds far away, he's already behind you. Tonight you'll learn why he exists, who he targets, and how one family's horrific secret created South America's most terrifying legend. El Silbón wasn't always a monster. His story begins in the mid-1800s. In the foothills of the Venezuelan Andes, a wealthy Spanish landowner ruled a vast hacienda, and his son, Juan Pedro, was given everything: fine clothes, the best education, servants at his command. But wealth bred arrogance, and Juan Pedro became cruel, entitled, violent. One evening, Juan Pedro demanded his father bring him a fresh deer heart to eat. It was a strange, specific craving. His father, despite his age, went hunting in the mountains to please him. Hours passed, the forests yielded nothing. No deer, no heart. Exhausted, the father returned home empty-handed, apologizing. Juan Pedro exploded in rage. How dare his father fail him? How dare he return without what was demanded? In his fury, something snapped. He attacked his own father, he beat him, and then, in a moment of unspeakable evil, he murdered him. Some versions say he stabbed him, others say he strangled him. But every version agrees on what happened next. Juan Pedro dragged his father's body into the kitchen. He dismembered it, removed the organs, and according to the most horrifying accounts, he cooked his father's remains and fed them to his family, claiming it was deer meat. His mother and grandfather ate, unknowing, until the grandfather discovered the truth. When Juan Pedro's grandfather found pieces of his son's body hidden in the kitchen, grief turned to rage. He confronted Juan Pedro, who showed no remorse. The grandfather knew this evil could not go unpunished. He dragged Juan Pedro outside, tied him to a post in the courtyard, and whipped him mercilessly, tearing the flesh from his back. But the punishment didn't end there. He took dried chili peppers, the hottest he could find, and rubbed them into Juan Pedro's open wounds. The pain was beyond human comprehension. Juan Pedro screamed until his voice broke. Then came the final curse. The grandfather released 2 savage dogs and commanded them to chase Juan Pedro into the plains. As Juan Pedro ran bleeding and burning, the grandfather shouted words that would echo for centuries. You will wander these lands forever, carrying your father's bones. You will never rest, you will never die, and you will hunt those who commit your same sin. Juan Pedro fled into the darkness of Los Llanos. The dogs tore at his ankles. The chili burned like hellfire, and as he ran, screaming in agony, his body began to change. His flesh withered, his bones stretched. He grew impossibly tall. The curse took hold. Juan Pedro died that night, but El Silbón was born. El Silbón now wanders the plains of Venezuela and Colombia, cursed to carry his father's bones for eternity. But he's not just wandering aimlessly, he's hunting. And his methods are as terrifying as his origin. His most distinctive feature is the whistle. 7 notes that rise and fall: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. The musical scale. But there's a deadly trick. If you hear the whistle close and loud, El Silbón is far away, you might be safe. But if the whistle sounds distant, faint, barely audible, he's standing right behind you. This acoustic deception has killed countless victims who made the fatal mistake of relaxing when the sound grew quiet. El Silbón hunts specific targets. He doesn't kill randomly. His victims are chosen. Drunkards who abandon their families, he drains the alcohol from their bodies through their belly buttons, leaving them as empty husks. Unfaithful men who betray their wives, he tears them apart, adding their bones to his collection. And most of all, abusive fathers. Those who harm their children face El Silbón's cruelest punishment. But there's another ritual that terrifies families. If you hear El Silbón outside your home at night, you'll hear him counting bones: 1, 2, 3, 4. He counts each bone in his sack. If he finishes counting, if he reaches the end, someone in your family will die before sunrise. But if the counting continues endlessly, if he loses count and starts over, you're spared. Families pray for him to miscount. There are ways to protect yourself, according to legend. Dogs can sense El Silbón before humans can. If your dogs start barking frantically at nothing, you run inside and lock every door. The crack of a whip frightens him, reminding him of his grandfather's punishment. And chili peppers, the same used to curse him, can be placed around your home as protection. Is El Silbón still seen today? The reports continue. In 2019, ranch workers in Apri, Venezuela, reported hearing the 7-note whistle at 3 in the morning. They locked themselves inside. The whistle grew louder, then silent. The next morning they found footprints outside too large to be human leading into the forest. A truck driver in Casanar, Colombia, claimed that, in 2021, he saw a figure over 3 meters tall, keeping pace with his vehicle at 120 kilometers per hour. The figure was whistling. When he reached the next town and told his story, the locals weren't surprised. They simply said, "You met El Silbón. You're lucky you didn't stop." El Silbón is more than folklore. He's a warning carved into Venezuelan culture. Respect your family. Control your vices. Honor your father. Because in Los Llanos, when darkness falls and the wind carries 7 notes across the grasslands, El Silbón is still hunting, still counting bones, still searching for those who repeat his sin. And if you ever hear that whistle, pray it sounds close. El Silbón is just one of dozens of entities haunting Latin America. If you want to hear about La Llorona, the weeping woman who drowned her children, or La Patasola, Colombia's one-legged forest vampire, leave a comment below. Subscribe for more Latin American folklore. And remember, if you hear whistling in the night, don't assume it's far away.